Hi, Chris Mc Loone here with Fire Apparatus and Emergency Equipment. Welcome to this episode of our podcast. My guest today is Adam Graves, and he is with USSC. We all know USSC for their seating line, the Valor line of seating that we find on a lot of rigs across America. But it turns out, you may not know, USSC does a lot more. There are a variety of partnerships that it has and does a lot more than just seats. Now, just a few years ago, it was 2018, they moved into a new facility. Between 2018 and 2023, there was a whole new wing added on to that facility. So it really is a company that's pretty much in growth mode. So Adam, thank you very much for joining me today to talk about some things here. Before we get into, some of what's new at USSC and Valor, talk a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself. You have a new role there, so you've just recently transitioned into this new role. So just introduce yourself.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me. Happy to be on here, and thank you again for having us. So for those who don't know me, I'm Adam Graves. I've been in the fire industry for probably a little over 15 years, have some OEM background to me, a couple different suppliers on that side. But for the past 4 years, I've been with USSC, which is known as United Safety Survivability Corporation, and in the fire industry, better known as Valor. So as you see us out there, as you know, sometimes we get the USSC and, they scratch their heads and you say Valor and it picks right up. So yeah, I started here as a regional sales manager and kind of key accounts. We split the territory as we can. There were 3 of us when I joined the team, and we kind of, thirded the US out, and I was kind of an East Coast guy handling dealers, OEMs, end users, that sort of thing. And worked with the other guys to wherever we could do business on the Valor first responder side. From there, we had some changes, some people left and that sort of thing. And I got the opportunity to become the director of Valor sales. So I'm proud of that. I'm happy the guys gave me an opportunity to run that. So yeah, what you stated there, what does that entail? What do we do? So the Valor side, everyone knows seating, as you stated. We do fire and ambulance seating, but we also have other partnerships and other things that we supply as far as like vehicle lock and air purification, fog maker, that all those sort of things fall under the Valor first responder. As a company as a whole, we also do other seating lines. We do bus seating, boat seating, transit seating. So we are a vast majority of our business is seating, but we're big onto safety. So our big thing is we're not just seating, we're about safety, personnel, vehicles, whatever that entails. So as director now, it's me and Steve Torin. He's I'd say my counterpart, but he's the regional out on the west side. He's a lot of years of knowledge there, and he does a lot of great things. And we kind of cover as we can. 2 of us on the U.S. Yes, we'll kind of split the state. We'll say Mississippi, but the river. But it pretty much wherever we need to be, it will help cover that.
So you mentioned all the different seating products that USSC is part of, but there are. You did mention that there's more than seats. Talk about some of the other products that are part of the USSC portfolio that are also making their way into the fire service and on the EMS side of the business. Sure.
So some of the bigger products that this is a big one. So one of the products that we've purchased, I want to say probably about 4 or 5 years ago. At that time, it was called Vista Park Lock. It's still the same product, but we did some upgrades to it, some safety features. So trying to get people to understand that's vehicle lock. Now we have vehicle lock for air brake and non-air brake systems. And basically what that is, depending on if you have air brakes or not, it's a anti-theft / rollaway deterrent. This is the only system that I'm aware of in the industry that doesn't require the driver to have any interaction. They don't have to push a button. They don't have to hit a secret key to pull a key out to let the vehicle run. So what this device will do, depending again on what kind of vehicle you have, if it's an air brake system, basically the concept is a guy on a fire truck or an ambulance would pull up. It recognizes the door being closed and someone being occupied in the driver's seat. When those two things are met, you will be able to enter a code into the system. It's a keypad that you put on the dash or somewhere that's convenient for you in the cab that will let you release the park brake or apply the park brake. So if you're out of fire, the guy's excited, jumps out, pulls up to the scene. He doesn't think anything of it. He jumps out of the truck. It'll say doors open. He's out of the seat. It'll automatically apply your park brake. Believe it or not, people don't think, oh, fire trucks don't get stolen. They don't roll away. Let's just be honest, they do. It's not. They don't like to know that, right? We try to keep that out there. It happens. It's a safety feature, though, right? So it's a big product. On ambulance side, since there is no air brake, it's once the driver puts the vehicle in park, it'll operate the same way. It will not let him engage the shifter until you enter this code with the door closed and you set. So what does that give you? There again, believe it or not, ambulances get stolen quite often. A lot of times it's the patients. They get taken to the hospital. They may be under influence of something, and they don't know how they're getting home, and they'll jump right back in the vehicle and drive off with it. Also, stealing of the med boxes is kind of a big thing. So this kind of helps prevent, for pretty much a low cost compared to what your vehicle is. You can protect your vehicle for under $2,000 for protecting a multi-million-dollar piece of equipment for your safety and other people's. The damage that can happen once you steal a vehicle. So it's a big safety feature that we're proud of. We're constantly doing upgrades to it to try to plug and play, so you don't have to cut anything. You can just splice right into the harnesses that are already there. But that's one of our big safety features that we have, and it's a big push on our side. The other one we have, as you know, is our air purification machine, which we call CAPS. Realistically, obviously, this technology has been around forever in hospitals, airports, and everything. It's just never was implemented heavily into the fire market, first responder market, until COVID, right? So the machine isn't a response to COVID. It just so happens that it does neutralize it, but it does other things. VOCs, big thing. The big C word in fire. With this doesn't prevent anything. This is just another layer of protection to help support the guys that are doing this on a daily basis. So we have that machine that it emits at a constant level of hydrogen peroxide that goes out and proactively neutralizes and captures VOCs, particles, and things in the air. And also it'll lay like an invisible surface, we would call it, like a visible surface of nails on everything that's in its cab or office. It gives that extra layer of protection for the guys that, still keeping all the gear in the vehicle, which, and that sort of thing. We don't say this is part of clean cab. We don't kind of go down clean cab road because that's such a dangerous word. That clean cab was a big word probably 6 years ago, maybe. And, clean cab to everybody's different, right? So we're just saying this is just another part of a safety feature that we can provide to help for your personnel team. Those are probably our big three. And then, we do have some other things that we might be trying to implement as far as safety features. Is almost like we have a fog maker. It's a fire detection suppressant. So we use it a lot in our other markets and kind of mining equipment, trash trucks. It's in a quick theory, it is a fire extinguisher system that's put around an engine. It'll have fire lines. It detects heat. When those break, it'll disperse a chemical to put out a fire inside the vehicle, especially in transit. Let's realistically, you got 50 passengers on a bus. You have a bus fire in the engine compartment. This can put that out and still get the people off safely, saving not only most of your vehicle, but also the people on the bus. So that's something we're looking to implement in the fire side. We haven't done it yet, but it's on the horizon, and we're going to see what kind of interest is out there. But I'm sorry, and I guess one last thing to mention: we also partner with some other suppliers that we don't necessarily make, but we partner with them because we feel there's some good crossover there. And one of those is an AI gun detection agency, Zero Eyes, and the other one that we do is it's a Stealth Power. So they are a idle mitigation company. There again, with just some of the crossovers that we have, we try to partner together with them and see if we can do anything with them.
Now you mentioned just a number of products there. Now the seating,
Sure.
We can kind of figure out how you're moving that, into the market. But as far as these other products, how have you been getting them into vehicles? What's the approach? How are you educating the fire service, the prospective purchasers, about these products to integrate them into the design of their rigs, whether they're fire apparatus or on the ambulance side?
Sure. I think the key word, what you just said there, is education, right? Is going to the end users, going to the dealers, doing the trade show events where if there's any time that you can do talks, things like this, doing these podcasts. It's education. There's so many products out there. When I first came to the fire industry, I came from the trucking side, and I'll be honest, the first thing that I was taken back on, I came from a trucking side where a spec is 20 pages and it was on a green bar, and now you go to a fire truck and it's 120 pages and it's line by line of there's so many different items they can do. So I understand, they have to be educated of what technology's out there. It's very hard for these end users to know what's out. They can Google stuff, but they don't know what they don't know, right? So it's a matter of going out, doing seminars. When I go on a road trip, say I'm going to go visit North Carolina, I will make a point to reach out to the local departments there, the dealers, and say, hey, I'm going to come around. I have my vehicle. I just love to show you what we have, not just seating, right? Because again, like you stated, everyone's like, oh, we know seats, which there again, even in that aspect, there's still education to be done on that. Like what are you looking for in a seat? Do you know there's these options, that sort of thing. So it all comes down to the education and getting your product out there so they know what's available for them to protect their personnel and their vehicles. Trade shows, dealer meetings, things with webinars like this. So that's the approach. Is just getting to get out there.
You mentioned the demos. You mentioned the trade shows. On the demo side, you mentioned how like if you're on the road, you'll contact a number of local departments. Just let them know you're there and that you'd love to show them stuff. Can departments also request from USSC a demonstration of the products? Absolutely.
So even if they don't have my direct contact or somebody on our website, we kind of have that FAQ page, and they can inquire in there and send in a generic, hey, I'm looking to do a seat demo or a vehicle lock. Just had one come in the other day for an upstate New York company looking to do a vehicle lock. They had an ambulance stolen. So they can be done multiple ways. They don't have to be done in person. It could be a phone call just to explain kind of what the product does. If they want to see it in person, we'll try to make that work. Again, just kind of coverage area. It's not always the easiest thing to do, but we're between webinars, us being in person or just a phone call and some email literature. Yeah, they can request the demo directly by contacting us or just even visiting our webpage, which is United Safety Corporation. They can go right to that and follow the links and ask anything they want, and we'll get back to them there.
You mentioned Steve Torin on the western side of the country there, and you on the eastern side of there. You mentioned trade shows as well. Are there events, whether they be trade shows or whether they be some of the smaller dealer events, or are there events that you find that you tend to do that maybe potential customers might keep an eye out for, so that they figure, okay, this is coming up, USSC is probably going to be there?
Yeah. So, I mean, besides the big one, obviously at FDIC, there's realistically, if you look in our market, you could probably do a trade show of monthly, between the different states having their own shows and the national recognized ones. So we look at that on a yearly basis where it makes sense. What's our travel schedules look like? Where can we be? They all have value in my opinion, for somebody on a vendor side of business. If our no matter what, there's going to be dealers from that area there, local fire departments, some OEMs. So for us, there's always going to be some key demographic people at these trade shows. But for the people that want to know where Valor is, we put that together every year. We'll put a list of shows. Here's where we're attending. Here's where we're going to be, at least where we'll have a booth. Here's where we'll be walking. If anybody has any questions, and we'll post that to our website. So if people want to look, they can kind of go month by month and see, where we'll be.
So we've talked about, the products that you're producing now, some of these different partnerships. Is there anything new at Valor? Are there any changes happening? Well, we're in October, so for like the remainder of this year or next year, are there any changes happening there? Any new products on the horizon you can talk about?
Sure. So first of all, our company is very forefront safety. So we do have a new product that we're out there pushing now, but I will tell you, our president is always looking at new stuff, and he'll go with our team. Hey, what is your guys' thoughts on this? So I can't really say too much about any new partnerships or anything moving forward, but I can tell you they're always looking to grow. But one of our new products that we've been pushing kind of heavy as a safety feature is on our seating side, which is kind of exciting because the seats don't always get updated too often. They're kind of, the seat is a seat, in some words, but we have a semi-active seat, it's called. And basically it's a shock mitigation seat. For salesman layman terms, it's a smart seat. There's some electronics on it, there's dampeners, and it's simultaneously reading bumps and adjusting this dampener where it's taking that jolt, that shock that goes through your body, that wear that they're feeling, out of the potential injury to an occupant. We're really looking at right now for on the fire side, tiller positions. It's a well-known spot that's just a rough ride. You're hanging over the back of the suspension. You're kind of out there on your own. Small cabs, guys hitting their heads, bottoming them out. This, I would say, with the demos we have out there and the customer feedback that we got, I mean, you're going to see an above 50%. I don't want to go too high, but I'd say 85% quality ride difference, where it's altering the guys saying, yeah, this is an incredible feel. So with the demos, with that you said, how do you demo a seat? A lot of times if you just have air ride seat or this seat, we actually, we put in one of our vehicles, and I've been driving around to some key accounts and giving rides, like I'll call it giving a ride, letting them come in that, having the seat turn off, because they're, on a demo thing, I can turn it on and off. That wouldn't be like that in a real operation world, but just so they can feel the difference. This is an air ride seat with added features. So, we've gone around, go hit bumps and just do a standard on the highway drive. I'll go over and hit some bumps, but let them feel how this is more of what we describe as a controlled bounce. A control feel where it's almost like cradling you up and down. The seat does not sensor weight, it sensors pressure. So it's sensing where it's at, how much pressure is being pushed down on the seat, and these dampeners will adjust to kind of give you an up and down feel without giving you that jolt and that wear in that position. Again, so we feel like that's probably one of the bigger safety seats. We understand there's not, maybe 100 tillers built a year. We understand that. Still important to us. It's still important to the fire industry. There's still guys that are out there driving that vehicle and have potential of being tired and worn at the end of the day and injuries. So to us, we have that as a priority, and we're out there pushing that product right now.
Well, I'll tell you, someone who I stand about 6'4", And for many, many years, low back pain is just, it's just as I matured, the back pain came with it. That's just, it's a constant for me. And I can say, like, when I'm in a seat that is less than stellar, I feel it when I'm done. And I think that, when we talk about firefighter health and safety, something like what you just described is kind of critical. When the tillerman gets to the scene, it's not like his job is done or her job is done. There's work to do, and you can't be, hobbling around because you just got wrecked, on the way there because it was a bumpy ride. I can say from experience, though, I was out at USSC, I guess about a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago. And I did get to demo that. Now, I'm sure there have been enhancements, to it in a year. I also got to see the area where you guys were engineering it. So I'm sure
Correct.
That's constantly ongoing.
Yeah, you got in on the early stages there, so that was great.
So I'm sure that there have been enhancements made since then. The ride, I can say from experience, it was a whole different ride. In fact, we did a video where you could see me bouncing up and down when it was not turned on and when it was turned on. So it really is striking. And as I said, speaking as a firefighter, anything that's going to help increase our health or improve our health and safety is certainly always welcome. Well, Adam, I thank you for coming on with me today. Before we sign off, are there any major takeaways that you would like the audience to walk away with today before we sign off?
No, the only thing I'd like to say is, hey, us as United Safety, Valor Seating, we talked earlier, we're a safety forward company. We're not just seats. Maybe we don't even have a solution out there now. If you see something with a problem at your department or neighboring departments, or just have a question, we'll take that in and we'll see if it's something valuable to move forward with. There are things to, educate yourselves. There are benefits to just different seating lines. And I'm not talking about us versus competitors, but just in their own brands itself. Like, what is the benefit of an electric? What is the benefit of vinyl versus material, or vice versa? Just educate yourself. These guys, it's what gets them to the fire and what gets them back home, right? And like you said, their job isn't just, done when they get out or put out that fire or save somebody or back to the station. They got to feel that, and they're still doing training, and they got to do other things. So, just educate what's out there as far as, are you doing what you think is best for your department and for your personnel? Because ultimately, especially with these volunteers, it's hard to get volunteers anymore, and they're lighter and lighter, with coming out to help. And when you think about that, when there actually is a fire in your local department, your local neighborhood, these guys are coming out with 2 or 3 guys when they should have a team of 5 or 6. So, ultimately we think of them. I just want people to educate just on the different safety features of what any company can bring. But, especially obviously Valley United Safety, we're open to just not what we do. If there's anything we can do to help with education, always reach out. That's all I just kind of want to say. It's make sure you're educated, and there's no dumb question. Feel free to reach out anytime.
You mentioned reaching out earlier. You mentioned your website. If any of the audience does have a question for you or wants to get more information on USSC, how can they do it?
So you can reach out to me. My direct email, I can give you my email, which is agraves@usscgroup.com. Our website is unitedsafetycorporation.com. You can reach out to one of those avenues. My direct line, I can give you my cell phone. It's 574-370-2288. Open line of communication. Reach out any way possible, and we'll be there to assist.
Okay, great. Well, Adam, my thanks to you again for sitting down with me to talk about USSC, what's available, and just, the advice that you gave right there at the end. Make sure that no matter where you go, you're educating yourself as to what will work best for your company. Again, if there are topics that we have not hit on these webcasts or podcasts, please let me know. You can reach me at chris.mcloone@clarionevents.com. You can also find all of our podcasts archived at fireapparatusmagazine.com/podcast. So again, my thanks to you, Adam. Again, this has been
Thank
Chris
you, Chris.
Mc Loone with Fire Apparatus and Emergency Equipment. Have a good one and stay safe. Thanks again, Adam.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.